Hello everyone, this is Martha, and this video is about an introduction to rational expressions. And rational in this case means a ratio or a comparison. And oftentimes we most recognize it as something like 3/5, where you have a numerator and a denominator. Now, rational expression means that we're doing ratios with variables. So x plus 3 over 2x minus 7. That is a rational expression. And there are a couple of important rules, and we're just going to talk about two of them. The biggest is that in this denominator down here, it cannot be equal to 0. When it is equal to 0, we say that it's undefined. And the reason is that we can't divide anything by 0. Division is like taking things and putting it into that many groups. We can't take something and put it into 0 groups. So that's the first rule. The second is that anything over itself equals 1. So if I have 2 over 2, that's just, it equals 1. It just looks a little differently. If I have 4y over 4y, it equals 1. Again, just looks a little differently. If I have x minus 3 over x minus 3 equals 1. Star over star, whatever it is, it equals 1. And this comes into play when we're simplifying rational expressions. And a big part of this chapter is simplifying. Previously, when we're simplifying a fraction, we often talk about breaking it down into things that are multiplied together or factors. So I take 6 over 8 and I break it down, right? 6 is the same as 2 times 3. And 8 is the same as 2 times 4. And a lot of our language, we talk about how we just cancel out these 2's. And I take a little bit of a different approach, where this 2 over 2, it equals 1. And it's kind of like a 1 in disguise. And if I take 1 and multiply it by anything, it's that same thing. So 1 times a star is star. 1 times 3 over 4 is 3 over 4. 1 times x plus 7 over x, or sorry, x plus 3 equals x plus 7 over x plus 3. And so for this example, this last one right here, we're going to say that, let's break it down a little bit. Let's say that this one was actually x plus 6 over x plus 6, right? And it's all times x plus 7 over x plus 3. So part of it for me is looking at this x plus 6 over x plus 6 and recognizing that because these things are all multiplied together, it just means 1. And the reason that I do this is because a lot of times when I talk about canceling out, my brain goes to 0. So I'll put a 0 down, but it's actually 1. Like if we have 2 over 4 and we cancel out a 2, right? Sometimes I would put 0 over 2, but that's not true. 1, 2 over 4 equals 1/2. And so I break it down. I just have to remember in my mind that 2 times 2 times 2, this is 1 over 2. And I find this helpful. Not all students will like this approach, but sometimes just having a different way to look at things can help. This video will have one quick example of simplifying, and then we're going to move on to, then there's going to be a longer video with some longer problems. So let's do a fun one. We have 8y over 4y squared. And I'm going to make it look different without changing anything. 8 equals 2 times 4 times 8y, sorry, equals 2 times 4 times y. And 4y squared is, now let's just do 4 times 1 times y times y. Now if we look at it, these 4's equal 1. So let's just say times 1. These y's equal 1, so times another 1. What do we have left over? We have a 2 on top, and then a y on the bottom. Some students still like to think of canceling these out, and if that works for you, go for it. But again, sometimes having a different way to look at it, and if it helps you not to put a 0 up top, that helps you. So I hope this is helpful, and we're on to some other examples.